Schmidt death? Yeah.
It's me. I'm on the wrong side. I don't know what to do.
So, this is the story about how we almost killed Schmidt.
Oh man, so this is like 2012?
Oh, the Warp Zone. The Warp Zone. I met them back when we all worked for Maker Studios. I met Schmitty at Maker Studios. I don't remember our first meeting. I don't know if we were eating spaghetti and then accidentally met in the middle. I came in as the office PA. So I would take out the trash and make coffee. Eventually started working together on stuff. Actually now that I think about it, probably some game station stuff early on, and then became friends, and he started shooting for us.
At the time, we had been dabbling with making some music videos. I think we had produced a few by that point. One was a Halo one. The first Halo music video we made was called I'm in Love with Halo. And it was a parody of One Direction, You Don't Know You're Beautiful. It's a very catchy tune at the time.
So we're like, well, we're a bunch of dudes, and we like Halo. And in the video, they're a bunch of dudes, and they like girls. So why don't we just switch girls with Halo? And then we made a video.
It was a cool parody. It sounded really good. We worked with our buddy TJ Smith, who has since been a frequent collaborator. He's produced a bunch of our music, good friends.
It was actually one of the first bigger shoots that we had done with Schmitty, and the first shoot that we really had to trust him.
Every shot they're want to review, and I got fed up with that and was just you guys gotta just roll with this. They're dying in the heat. It's the middle of summer. We're on the beach, just drenched in sweat, and we're we just gotta shoot this as fast as possible. There were no permits or anything at the time. It was just all right, we're all gonna walk down to the beach and shoot a music video today. Where we shot it in Southern California is near a waste treatment place, which is, by the way, this is where we go to shoot a lot of things if we don't want people to be there, because it's not always pleasant.
So we finished up that video and put it up, and it did really well. It was sort of above what we had usually done up to that point.
It got a lot of views, which ultimately led to the second Halo video.
We actually got a call from a representative at Microsoft. They said that we really like that video of yours. Could you make another one for the launch of Halo 4? And we're like, holy crap. This is some big league shit.
So then the question was, okay, well, how much do you think you need for this? And I think we didn't have a lot of experience at the time, and we were so giddy to just have support to make something cool.
When it got to them well, how much will this cost? We told them the budget, or what we thought the budget was, and what we didn't realize is that normally in these sort of negotiations and stuff, when you say this, you also include, the budget and then your fee, because you have to make a profit on that. And we didn't do that.
We thought of a number and we pitched it to them, and they went for it. And they went for it very easily. It did not take a lot of back and forth.
We had no concept of any amount of pricing, barely any concept of what a production budget was, so, we did the best we could, given the circumstances. Boy, we should have asked for more.
But we did it, and this was our first big video, because we had to go get permits and go get insurance things that we totally still do.
We'd been sort of at Maker and Game Station attached to some things that had some money behind it, but this is our first Warp Zone. Company saw us, gave us some money, and we were able to do something big.
When discussing how to shoot it, we're we couldn't do sci-fi buildings or whatever, but there's a lot of wilderness and stuff. So we're we can go shoot, in Big Bear. Big Bear is kind of close by.
But Big Bear is a big place. Where are we gonna shoot it?
We drive up to Big Bear. I don't know. We walk around the forest and we find something that we think looks cool.
This rock will be good in a couple weeks. Let's just hope it doesn't snow.
And this was by far the most lead time we had on something, which only served to make it feel oh.
It was already October, I think. So weather was definitely starting to get colder, which will come up later. So it was
probably weeks of planning, I'm assuming. Like, we were renting gear, like big overhead silks and lights and generators to bring literally up the side of a mountain.
Fuck that generator, man. All it really did was generate some problems. We had so many moving costume parts. We had all the Marines, we had Master Chief. Okay, that's all we had. But we had a bunch of all of them. So I started a list and I realized there's really just 2 things on that list. Yeah. There's guns, there's a lot of stuff. Things also had to be fitted. There was a lot of like hot gluing of things, prep work. And that took us actually a lot of time.
We drove up the day before, I think it was like afternoon. The costume guy that Microsoft had actually gotten us in contact with, who was providing like the costume and the weapons and stuff, he was there and he had it like all laid out. And I remember seeing all this stuff thinking, oh my God, this is like fantastic quality, like props and like this is definitely the most production value that's gone into a Warp Zone video at this point.
Interestingly enough, I got real sick like the day before we were supposed to leave. And by that point, it was like too late to be like, oh, I'm too sick to do this. And then, I mean, it's my first big shoot, so I didn't want to like bail on that.
I knew that Schmidt was coughing a lot. I don't know if we knew then, but he definitely had bronchitis. I don't know if we knew at the time he had bronchitis. Schmidt is a prolific cinematographer and smoker. That guy loves American spirits unfiltered.
I remember getting to set and we're like taking all the gear. There was like a lot of gear that we had to like lug up a hill.
We went all throughout the wilderness. There was like a few key scenes that we wanted to do, and one was like the chorus by The Rock and the intro where we had a bunch of cool spots.
Yeah, I don't know. We were just rolling. There's so much we shot that day. Like we did the dance, we did a lot of both acting and like production stuff. Like we were helping move equipment and stuff between scenes.
The first part of the shoot went pretty well. We're going along. I don't think that we are like behind. We're just busy. We just keep going. And throughout the day, Schmidt had this cough, and he like sort of woke up with it, but he was also like smoking a lot. So he's just like, I'll just smoke a cigarette. That'll make it go away. It didn't go away.
At that point, it was like, okay, so it's still like the first day of being sick. I'm like clearly overstressing my body. Up on the side of a mountain, smoking cigarettes, running camera, all that.
The day stuff was all really, really fun. It just felt, I don't know, the atmosphere at the time, at least since I wasn't behind the camera, was just like very exciting. It was all just it felt like very big for where we were. And then, the evening rolled around, the sun went down.
And while that was happening, I remember thinking like, it's starting to get dark out. It's also starting to feel really cold. Which was a bad sign because it got even colder.
And that's when it started to get like a little bit less exciting because we were like exhausted. I don't even remember what we did for meals, but it got cold and we got tired and we were out there in our costumes. So our costumes were basically like, if I recall, Under Armour and then like some foam. And sure, in the daytime, it was more than hot, like when we were dancing. But then when it got cold, that offered like actually very little insulation.
The signs that Schmidt was sick and like struggling really like, were apparent. It sounded like he had pneumonia. I thought he had pneumonia, and it was like the deepest, just girthiest cough that I had probably ever heard.
Honestly, I had no idea Schmidt had been sick. Thank God it was a music video, because otherwise he would have been ruining the sound. But at the same time, coughing and in pure Schmidt fashion, like also smoking a cigarette and like moving lights and stuff.
It drops down to like 20 degrees. It's like freezing, literally freezing out. And at this point, I'm just like, all that lovely stuff, just like constantly, just the whole time. The whole time I'm just like spewing phlegm out of my sinuses.
He's a tough dude. He's like a He-Man. You don't think anything's gonna phase him or break him. So like, for us to like be concerned about him, like he was coughing like pretty bad, And at first it was like, Schmidt, you okay? And it's like, yeah, I'm fine.
I recall we had him wrapped up in a blanket, and he'd be there during the takes, cigarette, like holding, I don't know the parts of the camera, the dongly bit that you go to make the camera move, whatever that's called, in his right hand, and in his left hand, he was like, and then in between puffs, he would also have a series of violent hacks. It was honestly, and then whenever we cut, we had a car waiting that was turned on with the heater in, and we would shuffle him into the car to try and keep him from freezing.
But I don't know if anyone was like, we should take him to the hospital now. Which, in hindsight, is definitely a thing we probably should have done.
We didn't have any more money to have not, like, we could not have stayed another night to do this, so, you know, it's just, let's say it's good that he didn't die. It's good that we're all laughing about it now, and we got the video done.
And my body was just literally shutting down at this point, and I just like, I think I just handed Trent the camera and was like, you gotta finish this for me, because I need to go like lay down before I literally pass out in the wilderness.
It was a good 15-hour day, I think. Probably still the longest shoot day we've ever had. You know, sun up to way more than sundown.
Again, I don't think we did too much like celebrating or anything. We were just like, all right, well, we're done. We still have more to do tomorrow, so let's just go home. And we just sort of put Schmidt to bed again.
So I'm pretty sure Schmidt was right next door to my room. He was just hacking and hacking for hours on end that night. I guess we still didn't think he needed to go to urgent care, but I just remember thinking like, oh my God, I'm not gonna get any sleep tonight. I was thinking about my well-being, which I guess in hindsight is pretty selfish.
He did not die in his sleep. These are all very good things. We're very, very excited.
I was back in business day 2, feeling well enough to like do my job.
There wasn't much to shoot anyways. It was pretty easy, so we just, I think, set it up, knocked it down, and then basically we just left Big Bear.
And Schmidt went to the hospital. I think, eventually. He eventually went to the hospital. We found out it was bronchitis. Definitely didn't help that he was out there super late, but it didn't turn into pneumonia, so we're clear. We're fine.
Yeah, he was out for like a week after that. I think it wasn't until talking to him after the fallout of everything that we realized like how sick he really was.
So, that was our Halo shoot.
It was the Warp Zone's first, branded integration. Before that, we hadn't really made a whole lot of money off of our YouTube channel. It may have been like the first time we got a taste of like, hey, maybe this is what it's like to actually do it full time, and maybe that's an option in the future, where we're not working, crappy production jobs and like doing this at night and on the weekends.
I think it was a big transition into focusing on those types of, high quality projects and pushing ourselves in that way from that point on.
That was the beginning of a beautiful relationship with 5 man-childs. That's, I'm still here. They're still here.
We forged a very strong friendship with Schmidt, and he's been our go-to guy. He is, we write the stuff and Schroeder directs it, and we have all this stuff, but when you talk about like the gaze of the Warp Zone, the literal gaze of the Warp Zone is Michael Schmidt and his camera. Like, so, it has had a huge impact on us and on all of our videos, and I'm just glad we didn't kill him.
Even though you don't see him, he's back there, behind the camera, probably yelling at people. Most likely yelling at people.
So, our first big video, and the time we almost killed a friend. That happened.
We're all still here. And we're going to keep doing it until we don't.
Until one of us dies.
Until one and or all of us dies. Probably me first. Or Davis. He's got diabetes.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed this Storytime episode. We also want to give a big thanks to Amazon Prime's The Boys for sponsoring it. The Boys is a brand new show on Amazon Prime based on the New York Times best-selling comic series of the same name. Set in a world where larger-than-life heroes all too often embrace the darker sides of their massive celebrity and fame, The Boys follows a titular group of disgruntled vigilantes who set out to take down corrupt superheroes. It's a subversive take on the superhero genre filled with violent action and dark humor. It also features a strong, diverse cast of actors, including one of our personal favorites, Carl Urban. Basically, it's a really cool-looking show that spins the superhero genre on its head by having the heroes be the villains and having the audience root for the boys to bring them down. And since they released all the episodes at once, you can binge it all in one sitting or watch it one episode at a time at whatever pace you want to. Anyways, check out The Boys. It's on Amazon Prime. It's out today. I'm gonna go Carl Urban. Whee! I'm coming, Carl!